February 24th, 2011. I watched episode 5, which had a few differences from the first 4 episodes. First off, it had Happy on his restless stick. Secondly, this episode got a lot more violent. The episode began with Happy on the playground, but he wasn't playing with the kids, or helping them. He was just staring at them with that unsettling smile that I hate so much. A group of kids are seen playing with jump ropes when Happy walks over him. He calmly tells them something, but I could barely hear what he said. From what I heard, I could only make out, "Hello, Happy, how, me, please." I could see where this was going. As the kids walk with Happy into the bushes of the playground, loud, violent screams are heard for almost a minute and a half, until Happy is seen dragging the 3 bloody bodies to his van. For the rest of the episode, he does that damn death smile. Why did they use that look so much? Episode 6 showed Happy doing his death smile at the beginning, but was hardly viewable. Around a third of the way in, it went to static for the rest of the show. I couldn't believe it. I moved on to episodes 7 and 8. This time the episodes were so violent and so badly made that they couldn't have been aired on Noggin at all. Episode 7 had Happy Appy take a kid into his van. Flesh cutting could be heard, and so could blood splatters on the windows, and horrified screams, which had turned into gurgles. Happy emerged doing a death smile from 9 minutes 21 seconds to the end of the show, or 10 minutes. Like in episode 7, episode 8 was gory and violent, but this one was called The Towers. Was so coincidental and violent that I couldn't believe Noggin would even allow it, unless it was some sort of hijacking. It starts out with Happy Appy walking around the playground when 2 kids ask him what the cycle of life is so that they could complete their homework. He proceeds to tell the kids about the cycle of life in frogs and plants. The kids said, "Thanks, Happy. Can you play with us for a bit?" And Happy agrees. And they start playing on the playground. When this happens, smoke starts to creep behind Happy and the children. It gets to the point where they start coughing because of how dense the smoke is. They turn to see what's making the smoke. Happy gasps at the sight in front of them. Two towers were on fire and were burning up. A few people could be seen falling out of the windows to escape the fire. There was a lot of screaming, falling debris, and a crashed airplane was in one of the towers. Only the tail of the plane was visible, sticking out like a sore thumb nearing the point of collapse. I could hear faint whining noise at this point. I think that was one of the plane's engineers, which was probably still on. Oh, engines. Probably one of the plane's engines that was probably still on. I can't read. 7 seconds later, the tail of the plane finally broke apart, with the largest piece of the tail hitting and killing someone. During this scene, fire trucks could be heard trying to douse the flames, but it only slows the flames down. The wailing of ambulances could also be heard, taking away the bodies of the people who just jumped from the towers. It showed a weird guy on fire falling out of one of the towers, screaming. We saw Happy and the kids again, but this time they stood still in fear. The smoke kept getting thicker and thicker, slowly obscuring the trees and equipment of the playground. The debris from the towers fell around the kids and Happy, and a person ran up to them and told them to run away from the towers before running off. When the older kid worriedly said, "Happy, Appy, why are the towers on fire?" it cut to a higher up floor that was near the plane where the plane crashed. It revealed a kid that was crushed under a huge piece of concrete crying for help. Some other kids tried to help him by lifting the piece of concrete off him. He was screaming so loud it was almost heartbreaking. There were bodies and blood everywhere, and the pain and fear on the trapped kid's face was so realistic I cringed. After the shot with the kid trapped under the concrete, we see the younger kid say, "Happy, Appy, why are people running from the falling towers?" Happy Appy turns to the camera, death smile on face, and very coldly said 3 words. Those 3 words will haunt me as long as I research this show. "That's natural, children." He took the 2 kids away from the towers, leaving the kids stuck under the concrete, screaming for help. When the credits rolled, the audio of the scene kept playing, and at the end, before it cut out, something collapsed, making a very loud noise that could scare anyone watching. I jumped out of my seat. Was Happy a Deathbringer in the form of an apple? Or was he a master predictor? If that show somehow predicted 9/11, I have to watch episodes 9 and 10 to see if there's anything else predicted. I might not see any predictions though, and to be honest, I hope not. You want to know what happens when someone calls the tsunami phone number? Tomorrow, I'm going to go call it. Hey, I called that 1-800 hotline mentioned on episode 3. It was a pre-recording, which I will transcribe for you. "Hello, my name is Happy Appy. I am every kid's most helpful and favorite apple. If you want to make a donation, press 1. If you want to know more about the earthquake, press 2. I pressed 2, and the hotline said this. "An earthquake and tsunami recently hit Japan, and we need all the help we can get. If you can make a donation of $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, $50, or $100, you will be a big help. Anyone who donates gets a Happy Appy badge." So I went ahead and donated $1 to the donation for the fun of it by using an outdated bank account that I never used. It responded, "Thank you for helping with aid for the tsunami. Look in your mailbox a week from now because you'll get your Happy Appy badge." I'm wondering what earthquake Happy predicted. Between 1999 and the current day, there were no 9.0 earthquakes in Japan. Since the 2003 Hokkaido earthquake was pretty close to when the episode was released, as well as the magnitude mentioned in the radio broadcast, I guess it was predicting about that. Let me see how long. February 27, 2011. Episode 9 was corrupt, to say the least. It started up, but it had no audio. And the first part was so badly compressed that it was hardly viewable. The next part was just plain static for the rest of the video. Great. 2 missing episodes, I thought. Episode 10, called Happy's Trick, was actually watchable. It started with some weird offbeat carnival music and Happy doing his death smile. As the episode went on, scars started to appear on Happy's clay body. It began with Happy in his van, driving on the road, which looped on and on. Eventually, he reached the playground, where many children were at play. Happy jumped out and looked like he was ready to kill them. He said, "Hey kids, you want to see Happy do a magic trick?" The kids cheered and ran into his van. Happy closed the door and drove off. After a few minutes, he came back, smiling like he just killed them all. The inside of the van was covered in blood as well. I couldn't take it anymore. For some reason, Happy was making me feel nauseous. But I kept going. The rest of the show, before the credits, was him reading the news. It looked absolutely normal until the camera zoomed into the newspaper, which was reporting on future events that didn't happen for a long time. For example, there were just a few examples were the Libyan riots, the death of Michael Jackson, and the SS Columbia disaster. Meanwhile, there were random breaks which showed up behind the scenes. Look at him murdering a child in his van. At the credits, Happy was holding a knife covered in blood, and the camera shut down, where there was a table and a hand with cut marks was visible. After this, it cut to a blank screen with white text. If you get these DVDs, I copied Happy over to them. I wanted to preserve this so that they weren't lost forever. Now, you might wonder how Nick allow all 10 episodes, or 7. I don't know. They just did. That's what. If you want to know more, see me. KC. Wait, who's KC? Is that my friend, Kevin Seward Costo? Well, when I first met him, he did say he worked for Nick up until the end of the millennium, so he probably helped with Happy. I went to his house to talk with him about the show. When I entered, Kevin wasn't home. Instead, his wife was sitting in the bedroom, crying. I asked her what happened to Kevin. She replied with something that shocked me. I don't know what happened, but someone or something kidnapped him last night. I'm not sure where my husband went, but whoever kidnapped him left this piece of paper. Take it. I got a folded up piece of paper, unfolded it, and it was a picture of Appy during the 9/11 scene, with the exception that he looked badly scarred, like in episode 10. Before I left, I asked her how those horrifying episodes got on noggin. She replied with, "This man had drugged the producers. He was going to..." That was enough. I couldn't bear to take it anymore, so I left the house and drove off. When I got out, I started to walk back to my house. I heard a gunshot and screams from a woman, probably Kevin's wife. I instantly ran to my house, because I know whoever killed Kevin was trying to kill me. Before I opened the door, I saw one last glimpse behind me. It was Kevin's mutilated arm in a bush, and an unknown figure standing behind it. Hey. March 3rd, 2011. Hey, I want to know if anyone has any videos of a Happy episode. If you do, send me the link to one. Why am I asking this? Even though I have a disc of 10 episodes? Well, I found the disc in pieces on my desk, and no, I didn't save the videos to my laptop, even though I should have. The way it was broken was almost like a claw had slashed the disc twice. Also, there was a note near it saying, "No more evidence now, huh?" I wonder who was angry enough to destroy my disc.